You should not be posting an Instagram message just before you walk on stage. You should be absolutely focused on who am I serving? Who am I here to help? What is my purpose? Because as soon as we're taken out into social or email or all of those modern day distractions, we've lost our presence.
Okay, so hi and welcome to the Success Mindset YouTube channel. I'm Damien and I'm delighted to be welcomed by Caroline Goyder again. Welcome, Caroline.
Hello, Damien. Good to be back.
And we thought it'd be really great to talk to Caroline, considering her background as a voice coach and a world-renowned author on the subject of speaking and holding yourself. What her view is on the greatest orators of all time, really, whether that be politicians or other speakers. But Caroline, I guess my first question is, if we think about the greatest speakers of all time, the greatest orators, we think about Winston Churchill and what he said about, never has so much been owed by so many to so few, talking about the great D-Day battle, or when we think about Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King Jr., anyone that we revere like that, do they have common traits, or what is it that really makes these people resonate with a great number of people?
Wow, big question. And I suppose it depends where you come in from. And, so I think of speechwriter friends of mine who will say, it's about the quality of the language and the message and that's all true. And I'm a voice coach, so where I come in on is how centered and congruent someone is and how passionately they believe in what they're talking about. And so for me, someone like Martin Luther King, who had come through a tradition in churches of speaking, was a really good example of someone who's just really centered and passionate and congruent. There's no self-consciousness. He just gets into flow and off he goes. And it's incredibly compelling, and you just get caught up in the flow of what he's saying. And you learn to do that. It's like learning to sing or to dance or to learn a sport. You learn how to get your body into the right place to own a message like that. And it's as much vocal as it is intellectual.
Absolutely. And you've used the word there, actually, congruent. Now, in a lot of the videos and a lot of the coaching videos we do, we talk about what's called Rogers' core conditions, which are unconditional positive regard, empathy, and congruence. And congruence, for people that don't know, is about being authentic. It's about being real, but also being in the moment with the person. It's being there for them. And I guess, we're in an age now which is very different to Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela or Winston Churchill, where people are tapping away on their phones and there seems to be a distinct lack of congruence when a lot of people talk to each other. Do you think that there are? Do you think that's impacted people speaking modern day nowadays in terms of digital devices and the way that we communicate? Do you think that's impacted people being good orators?
I think it can, right? So I've been having a lot of conversations recently about how to land messages in this medium. And one of the things I'm really hard line on is that attention is the currency and you have to go first. So it's too easy to be distracted. We've got emails coming in or text or Slack or whatever it is. You cannot, as a speaker, let any of that pull your focus away. If you're about to walk out on stage, turn your phone off, turn social off. You should not be posting an Instagram message just before you walk on stage. You should be absolutely focused on who am I serving? Who am I here to help? What is my purpose? Because as soon as we're taken out into social or email or all of those modern day distractions, we've lost our presence. So I'm so hard line on it. And I think, yes, in UK, you could see the impact on our parliament. Not in everybody, and I'm not going to name names, but I can see examples of individuals who are not centered and not focused and whose communication is massively impacted by that.
Yeah. And, I think there's a lot in that, you know, in terms of the congruence, like you say, and people showing up, because, you know, it's very rare now. I mean, if I think back to pre-COVID, we're obviously filming this in lockdown 2. But, you know, if we think back to meetings pre-COVID or sitting in a room with people, it's very rare now that you would even be in a meeting where, you know, you've got some quite important stuff to do as a team, perhaps, and people aren't on their laptops or aren't, you know, tapping away on their phones or texting people. And I think what you say about being there and being authentic and being in the moment, you know, it feels like it's part of humanity that we're sort of very slowly losing.
Yes, and I think we have to guard it very closely. And it's why I think the leaders of the future are going to be the people who are able to focus and center and give people their full attention. Because leaders who aren't, I don't think that it's not sustainable. And I think we've seen that in the US recently. I think we've seen that people don't want a leader who is not focused. I don't think I need to go any further than that.
and you know, going back to leaders and the greatest, you know, who people might revere as the greatest, you know, often as well, there seems to be a real emphasis of why behind what they say. So what I'm talking about there is the kind of Simon Sinek start with why, you know, what you believe and being truthful, because, you know, you can learn all of the tricks, I'm guessing, in terms of speaking and become more confident. But if you don't really believe what you say, then it's going to be very, very difficult to be authentic or congruent. If I think back to your TED Talk video, you know, you're obviously very, very versed in what you do. I mean, you were a voice coach for years before you became an author and do all you do now. But you love this stuff, don't you? I mean, you really love it.
Yeah, and that's where it's kind of, it's follow your bliss, isn't it? It's a bit cheesy, but that's it. It's if you speak about things that matter to you, you will naturally find your congruence, and that, you know, my mind, my voice, my breath, my purpose, everything's aligned, comes in anybody when they find their purpose. So if you ask someone to speak about the thing they love, I guarantee they will switch on. And we just have to find that in ourselves and then go out and, you know, find our audience, find our tribe.
Absolutely. I think you're bang on. And if, you know, so people watching this, they want to take tips from you, they want to become better speakers, better presenters, or maybe it's just resonating better with their partner, their colleagues at work, their friends, being able to have those more authentic conversations and just present themselves better. If you could think over all of the work you've done, your books, your talks, everything, if you could give people maybe the top 1 or 2 things that if they didn't do anything else, just the top 1 or 2 things, what would you think they are? What would you say they are?
Gosh, I think the big one, and, you know, my lesson has been, if you start to explore the instrument of your mind, your voice, your breath, you'll find that you have way more potential than you've realized. You know, learn to use your breath diaphragmatically, learn to play with your voice, you know, move your body in ways that you maybe wouldn't habitually move, learn something new and start to get really present in the instrument. You will find that you have access to all sorts of levels of communication that you didn't think you had. And then the second thing is, if you want to get better, just practice.
Practice makes perfect.
So simple, but it is with speaking and voice, that's it. It's the instrument. If you want to get good, you've got to practice.
And if I could just ask one last thing, Caroline, when people give talks, and I mean, I'm someone, if I'm giving a talk to a large number of people, and thankfully I don't really get any nerves or anything like that, but when I'm giving a talk to a large number of people, or something important, I will never go in with a script. I will always, what I'll do is generally put down, like you said, a thought shower or a few bullet points. And then I know the content anyway. And I might have rehearsed it a bit like you say, but I'll try and go in and roll with it, if you like. Just having the bullet points as a structure. when it comes for people really resonating, is it very much personal preference, or do you think people do come across a lot more authentic if they talk from the heart and just bullet points it? Or do you think having a script is useful sometimes if people really don't feel confident in what they're doing?
My feeling generally is that a script is a bit like an essay at school. And I think if you try and read a script in front of an audience, I mean, you might be a politician, you might be a chief executive doing your annual results, you might have to have a script. But if you can avoid it, absolutely, bullet points that you can segue between, because then there's no right or wrong, right? You might say it slightly differently, but it doesn't matter. If you have a script and you say that sentence wrong, that's really stressful. Or if you lose your place. So I think anything you can do to make it not feel like reading out in school in English is good. And for me, that's a mind map, or it's bullet points, or it's practice till I don't need anything. Then I can have fun and I can play. A script, wow, then I feel nervous.
Absolutely. That's brilliant, Caroline. Thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. I know the viewers will as well. And I know that there was a lot of people that were quite excited, myself included, knowing that you were coming on to do this talk with us. It was very, very much appreciated. So thank you.
My total pleasure. Great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it from the Success Mindset YouTube channel. Thank you to Caroline for all of her help across these videos, and we will see you on a video very soon. Thank you very much.